Liverpool or Everton? We were trying to pick between which of these two teams we should really talk about because both seem to have problems of their own. In the end, we decided to go with Merseyside as a whole. So yeah, both Liverpool, Everton, golly. Let's start with that Liverpool match, right? Liverpool losing to Brentford 3-1. What's going on? I mean, it seemed like they had some sort of control in there. They came out the second half, I mean, absolutely flying, and then just lost the plot all over again.
Brentford, I think, are now the bogey team for a lot of clubs, not just in London, but in Merseyside as well. Or even probably the entire league. They've gotten results against most of the big clubs, and this wasn't really a surprise for me. Liverpool are somehow failing to defend, and having fit defenders. I understand that they were conceding a lot more when they had a patch where Van Dijk was out, Matip was out, Joe Gomez was out, and they had to play all of their youngsters. But now most of their first team defense is still playing. So I can't really figure out what the excuse is, or what are they lacking. Is it
I mean, even today as we record this, they come off of a 2-2 draw against Wolves in the FA Cup, who have famously been struggling with goals themselves. So, uh, I feel like for me the biggest issue with Liverpool has been this very small tactical change by Klopp, but which seems to have really affected their game a lot. Is I think because of the congestion of the season, because of how compact everything was going to be because of the World Cup, Liverpool just haven't been pressing quite as intensely. They've been allowing teams to have a little bit more ball off the ball. And maybe in his head, he thought like it's not going to be as big of a change. But I think Liverpool's playstyle was so heavily dependent on that press that even backing off like 10% of that has just really changed how other teams can
breaking their
play against it.
dynamism? I think
Uh,
it's just breaking their fluidity in how they attack, and once they are high up the pitch, opponents are looking at so many simple counter attacks, which Liverpool have frankly had no luck defending.
Yeah, and again, you can say the defense has been struggling, but they're really thin in the midfield. Really haven't had the kind of stability that they would want. Fabinho, maybe not in the best of forms. Thiago is doing what he does best, but clearly not enough in that Liverpool. Henderson losing his legs. Curtis Jones, I think, with it's a mix of injuries and just bad form. Harvey Elliott, I do not think fits in that midfield. He's a lot more of an attacking player as well. It's just been an issue, and again, not to harp on Darwin Nunes, but it will really hurt a team when you have like a dozen great chances in a game and you fail to finish pretty much any one of them. um Again, like I said, he's not had a horrible season, right? I think he's already had like 9 or 10 goals in about 15-16 matches, which is not bad by any means. It's just that there are just so many other strikers who are just doing so much better this season than he is. And then of course the price tag when you talk about it, right? When you throw so much money down and he's starting day in day out, you expect more of him, and that's just not happened. But is there any way out of this sort of slump for Liverpool? Every time you feel like they're going to come out of it and they just kind of roll right back.
I think Klopp has to go back to the drawing board, just get his defense sorted once again, and play their natural style. He has I know he is still short of his favorite attacking options because Diaz is still out injured, Jota is out injured. But that might not be the only way as an excuse. They
They
just
got
have to
Gakpo in,
find
and
something.
Gakpo they got Gakpo in, and Gakpo started today.
Yep.
Don't think he had the any real impact in the game, but again, first game in, shouldn't be putting too much pressure on him anyway.
I've noticed the biggest issue with Liverpool this time around has been Fabinho has been having a stinker of a season, not even kidding. And maybe the base of the midfield needs a change. Maybe just play him as your CM and put Thiago in the base. Try it out. Maybe it works.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of one club that's probably going to struggle to make it to the top four, to another club that is really struggling to stay away from the bottom three in Merseyside, Frank Lampard. I mean, you'd think the Manchester City result would give him a lot of breathing room, and then they show up against Brighton and get thumped 4-1. I mean, Oof, oof. I was like, oh yeah, okay, get another draw at Brighton, maybe even a win, and suddenly you look so much better. But no, man, Lampard, and then again, of course, they went out in the FA Cup against Manchester United, which I wouldn't blame them too much for because Ten Hag played a very strong United team against Everton. Um, but I mean, let's be honest, we don't really like Lampard as a manager, do we?
I'm honestly surprised how Lampard has outlasted Steven Gerrard, which I had bet on. I had bet Lampard to be sacked before Gerrard. The current statistics don't really read well for him. Everton have played what 35 or 36 games under Frank Lampard, and their points are they've only got 35 points out of them. That is purely relegation form. Had that been a single season, that was definitely a relegation form season. I am not sure where Everton are heading. Their leadership seems clueless. At this point, continuing to stick with Lampard, maybe because they think they might not get a good enough manager right now and might do a complete overhaul in the summer. But how many overhauls are they going to wait for, or how many is the league going to allow with FFP and other aspects coming in?
Yeah, I mean they definitely can't even afford to sign decent talent. Not that their team is not bad. I mean, it's definitely not a relegation team. But as for you say about managers, I think there are options out there. I mean, it depends on what they want to go for. But a certain Ralph Hasenhüttl was let go by Southampton, who are probably going to get relegated now. Pick
A
him up.
certain
That's
Mauricio Pochettino is still without a job.
of course, of course. I mean, although he might consider that like a step below for him, or you can always just go back to people like Sean Dyche. Like why not? He's done it in the Premier League. This Everton team seems a lot like the kind of Burnley team that Dyche has coached in the past. So there are sensible moves to be made there. But I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, right? It's the management. They kind of
They
don't
can't
seem to
figure
know
out
what
what
they're
they want to
doing.
do, what they really want to do. They've surprisingly not figured out, which I can't. I'm thinking, hey, you are watching the league, right? You are watching other teams in the league, or are you just really focused on your own club? Because there's 19 other teams, 19 other boards that are managing 19 other teams, and they seem to know how to do it, or at least 15 odd teams know how to do it. How are you so clueless? Like, go poach somebody from somewhere else. If that's the only alternative, give them an insight into what you think the project is going to be, and try to make small changes so that you can build up to a bigger reshape than to just wait it all out and think about it at the end, because it might be too late.
Yeah, I mean Everton definitely a club that cannot afford to get relegated given the amount of financial outlay that there has been, and I just don't know how Lampard. I mean, again, just based on squad quality alone, they might just scrape it off, but that's not what Everton should be doing, right? That's
Not even
clearly not
close.
what exactly. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about Everton and Liverpool's fates this season. And Karthik, what do you think? Do Liverpool make it to top four, and do Everton stay safe in the league?
I think Liverpool make it to top four, and Everton might just face the axe.
Oh wow, okay, yeah, I would guess the other way around.
I know that. I know that. I know that for a fact.
But yeah, let us know what you guys think down in the comments below. As always, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support means so much to us, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.